Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be talking about how your attitude in the valley determines the outcome in your life and how you get out of it. This might be a long post, this disclaimer, because I'm trying to break it down to you, the things I have been learning about being in the valley. So I'll get straight onto it. So the valley in the Bible, anytime you read the Bible and the valley is mentioned, valleys in the Bible signify moments of turmoil, war, things when things are not going right. These are usually what the valley in the Bible, most of the time, if not all the time, signify. So I want us to study two men that I have been studying, two powerful men in the Bible that I have been studying, and their experiences in the valley, and how they impacted not only the destinies of their individual lives, but also the destiny of Israel as a nation. And I want to try and connect that to how that would come across and how that lesson applies to you and the things that you deal with. Okay, so whenever you find yourself in having situations that you're struggling with, you are right to say that you are in the valley. Okay, valleys are places of war. They're places where you're having problems. They are basically those times, those down times that you have. And I don't mean down times resting, but I'm talking about times when you're contending with something. Maybe a marriage that is on the rocks, maybe a child that is gone off the rails, maybe times of scarcity, times when you're struggling with poverty, joblessness, times when you're struggling with an illness. All of those times signify moments of being in the valley. Okay, so I want us to talk about two men. I want us to talk about David and his time in the valley, and I want us to talk about Saul and his time in the valley, and see how they fought, not only fought, or how they managed the situation in the valley, but most importantly, how it changed their lives and how the outcomes came out, as I have said, and how you can draw from those experiences to know how to fight well. So the Bible tells us that when all the Israelites in the valley saw that the army had fled and that Saul and his sons had died, they abandoned their towns and fled. And the Philistines came and occupied them. The Philistines came and occupied them. So when the Israelites were beat under Saul's leadership, when the Israelites came and they beat them up, and the Philistines who are left, the story tells us that Saul died and his sons as well. Saul's sons were killed, and Saul decided, told his army bearer, basically the person, sort of like a bodyguard, modern day bodyguard, saying, can you please kill me before they kill me? And the bodyguard said, no, I can't do that. And Saul fell on his sword and died. And the army bearer, or the bodyguard in modern day times, as we would call them, decided to also kill himself. And when the Israelites saw that their king had died and the children, their sons had died, the people who would have taken control, they fled. They left their towns and they fled. And the Bible tells us that the Philistines came and occupied them. Now, I want us to start from there, because that, for me, it just really opened my eyes in a very big way, because it showed me one thing, that fear will make you a slave, a refugee. That the minute you don't stand and fight for what is yours, you are reduced to the level of running around, and the enemy takes what is yours. You're reduced to the level of, I don't know what happens. The Bible doesn't tell us what happens, but what happens to the Israelites after that. But it is clear that the minute that you abandon your town and you leave your everything, what do you become? You become refugees. The minute there are refugees everywhere, people, when someone comes and kicks you out of your home, when you leave, you become a refugee. And a refugee has characteristics like poverty, like lack, like wanting, like not really having permanence in life, stability, or something stable in their lives. And this is what happens. If those people had fought, if the Israelites had said, this is what's happening, we will sit and we will fight. Our leader has gone, but we will sit and we'll fight. And this is what my encouragement to you would be, and what I drew from this story, and what I'm trying to do in my own life, is that every time I'm faced, and whenever I'm faced in a situation, when I'm in the valley, may we ask God to help us to fight, to not give in to fear. Because the Israelites saw that things were bad and fear got in and they left. And the Bible says that the enemy came in and occupied their territories. Let me tell you something. The minute you don't fight for that which is yours, the enemy will come and take it. I can tell you something. The enemy will come and take it. Now, then let's talk about David. I'm trying to make this very, 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 very short. So fight for what is yours. If you lose your business, your family, your marriage, or whatever, if you are on the verge of losing any of that, I want you to know that you can stand and fight, because as we are about to see from the prominent story, the story we have had, famous story we have had of David, his reaction and the destiny, his own destiny changed 1,000 times. You know, much, much better than the destiny of the Israelites and Saul in the valley. So you remember at that time, Saul, David is a young boy, you know, who goes and attacks Goliath. Everyone knows the story. I'm not going to get into it, otherwise this video is going to get too long. Goes and decides that, no, there is no way you're going to relegate us to being slaves. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna fight us. You're not gonna win over us. You're not gonna control us. Because at that time, if someone came and conquered you, that's the word. If they came and someone came and conquered you, they used to make you their slaves. They would make you, relegate you to a life of slavery where you'd be working for them. That is exactly what they did. They would get into a town, conquer. If they won, they make them slaves. So that was what used to happen. So we see David going and saying to Goliath, saying, I don't know who you are, and I don't know what gives you the right to think you can defy the armies of the living God, but today, I shall cut your throat, and I shall walk around with your head. I shall give your body to be fed by to the animals. Long story short, the attitude that David had, we see, was very different, and it changed the way he became. It changed the way he won. It changed how the Israelites won after that, and most importantly, prepared him for a life he would never have dreamed of. We talk about King David to date because he still and will continue to be one of the most powerful, prominent kings that ever lived. And the thing that catapulted him to that life was the story of him and Goliath in the valley. This was a man who knew what he had and who knew the support that he had. So my encouragement to you today would be, if you are in the valley, instead of giving in to fear like what the Israelites did during Saul's time, how about you change things around and you decide to face life the way David did. David said, in the name of the Lord, I shall come to you. Everyone has their Goliath. This is what I always say. Everyone has their Goliath. But if you can approach your Goliath by connecting to the Lord and the strength that he has, not by your own strength. David did not go and fight that Goliath by himself. David connected to the power, and he said, in the name of the Lord, I shall do this and this. I shall kill you. I shall do that. I shall do that. And the Bible says something that stood out to me as well. The reward for the person who was going to fight Goliath was going to be great wealth. That is what the Bible says. The Bible says the king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. There is a reward. Every time you kill your enemy, there is a reward. And by the way, this not only happens to men of God, but it also happened to the enemies as well. As I said earlier, whenever the enemies went to our camp and conquered people, to towns and conquered people, the enemies you read the Bible and see that they took away plunder. They never left just like that. They always took away plunder. And it was the same with the Israelites as well. Whenever they went and conquered a town, they always took away plunder. There is victory, there is wealth that comes from winning battles in life. That is all I am trying to say. And that is my encouragement to you, that when you get to that point where you are facing something hard, something difficult, remember to fight like David. Approach whatever you're going through in the name of the Lord. Ask the Lord to help you with it. Ask the Lord to help you with it. Do not go and live and be a Saul. Do not be that. The Bible tells us something else as I conclude this video. There's something else I want to remind you. I read somewhere in the Bible, still in the book of Chronicles, 1 Chronicles 10:13, it tells us exactly why Saul died. Exactly why Saul died. And it says, why did Saul, I've written it in my notes, why did Saul die? The Bible tells us he was unfaithful to the Lord. This is how you know, that is how victory comes to you if you stay away from these things, because we get two men here getting a different outcome. Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord. He did not inquire of the Lord, and he consulted a medium for guidance. The Bible will always tell you the things that you ought not to do. So if you're fighting in life, this is a call to you, as it has been a call to me. Examine your life. Ask yourself, are you listening to the Lord? Are you walking with the Lord? Are you faithful to the Lord? Are you doing what the Lord would want? Because if you are doing that, the Lord will go in and fight the battles for you. The Lord will go in and give you victory. So if you are in the valley, remember, do not fight like Saul. Fight like David. Have an attitude like David. But before then, and even now, walk with the Lord, inquire of the Lord, let the Lord be on your side, and that's how you can pull out, and that's how you will be able to pull out to the other side, strong and powerful. And let me tell you something, a victory that God gives is not something that is short term. When God fights a battle, the effects reverberate through generations. It changed the whole of David's life, just that one victory. Of course, there were many other victories that came, but this was a big one that set him aside. This is the part that set him aside. That was a big war that set him aside. And I don't know, we never think about it, but what if David lost? We would never have heard about David. We would never have heard about David. Would never have had a chance to give us the Psalms we read about. David would never have had a chance to give us Solomon, who wrote us the books of Proverbs. David would never had a chance. The Lord's temple, that was the most magnificent temple, would probably never have been built, because it had to be the kingship of David paved a way for the kingship of Solomon. So when you're in a situation, don't think about, let the enemy not make us forget how great victory will reverberate. That victory today will cast a very big effect on our destinies, our futures, and whatever is to come, not only for us but our children, our children's children, and our generations. Okay, so we're fighters. We are called to be fighters. Let us fight. Let us fight. Let us fight. Let us fight like David. God bless you. I shall see you in the next one.